This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, here in this session I'm going to start a new topic, that is account payable. And in account payable also we are going to start up from basic setting itself. So what is this account payable? Account payable, if you talk about any organization, whatever the organizations are there, every organizations are having certain customers and certain vendors. So, of course, if you talk about Tata Motor is a manufacturing organization. It is going to produce certain end product, whatever four-wheeler or two-wheeler or whatever it is. Now here, here generally what is happening, if any company is going to produce something, of course, it is going to be sold to someone. So whoever the buyers are there, that will be the customers. Even in order to manufacture this end product and all, the company has to procure certain raw materials and lots of other things, even services also they need to procure. So now this Tata Motor is going to procure, let's suppose, raw material from an organization or individual or whatever it is. So that is called vendor. So now here, since the companies are having customers and vendor, now if you talk about those customers and vendors, then whichever the sales are taking place or whichever the purchases are taking place, these all purchases or sales are on credit basis itself, most likely. It's not like cash basis transactions are taking place. Most of the transactions are taking place on credit basis itself. So if it is customer, let's suppose they have sold something. So whichever the transactions are taking place, this is called receivables. It means in future the company is going to receive those amount, and vice versa in terms of account payable, in the sense whichever we are going to procure from vendor. So whichever the due amounts are there, that is called payable amount. In the sense we have to pay these all. We are liable to pay these all amount to the vendors. So here, if you talk about account payable is nothing but all about the vendors itself. We are going to have several transactions even in account payable. Also, like it could be your invoices, it could be your credit memo, it could be your payment. So all the transactions related to the vendors are going to be taken care under account payable. And whichever this payable is there, that is your liability, because if you have procured something from somebody, in the sense from vendor, then whichever amounts are there, we have to pay it. We have to pay after 1 month, 2 months, as per negotiation with the vendor, right? So that is your liability. Now, if you talk about pretty what to say, simple transactions or basic transactions which is taking place. So as I said, like we are going to procure either product or services, anything, right? Say for example, we have created rent GL, right? Rent GL we have created, or else we have created audit fee GL. Likewise, we can create like some stock related GLs and all. So here what is happening, I'll tell you. Let's suppose Tata Motor is having corporate office somewhere, and whichever the office is there, that is taken on rent itself from some builder and all. So it means that builder is giving services. That builder is giving services to Tata Motor, and at the end of the month, that builder is going to raise invoice also. That builder is going to raise invoice also. So it means based on the invoice, Tata Motor is going to make the payment of rent amount. Now, if you talk about the transactions which is taking place, so what will be the transactions? Let's suppose that builder name is XYZ Limited. So that vendor is going to be credited and your rent account is going to be debited, or your rent account is going to be debited and your this vendor is going to be credited. So this is a simple transactions which is taking place. Okay, rent account is going to be debited and this XYZ Limited vendor is going to be credited worth of whichever, whether it is 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, lakhs rupees, whatever it is. Okay, so let's suppose it is 10,000. Okay, now irrespective of currencies, it could be rupees or dollar, whichever the company code currency is there. So now here this rent account is a GL account. So GL account related settings are already done, right? If instead of rent account, let's suppose if any other account is going to be debited, then easily we can set up that GL account. It's pretty easy because we have done all the configurations related to the GL settings. Okay, there are a few more advanced settings are there, that is called new GL, guys. That topic will come after, like still before that we have to cover lots of topics, so don't worry about this. But I'm talking about the basic GL. If you have to create, you have to set up this basic GL. So those settings we have already, basic settings we have already done. So if you need to create any new GL account, that can be created pretty easily. Now this XYZ Limited is your vendor account. So rent is your GL account, and this GL account is going to be set up as a GL master. It's a master data, and how whatever the configurations are required to set up, or basic settings are required to set up a GL master or GL account is already done. But this vendor is also your master data, and we need to set up this vendor in SAP before posting any transaction. Okay, the way we are going to give GL code while posting any transactions, in the similar way in SAP, whenever you have to post any transactions related to a vendor, we have to give the vendor number. It's not like that we are going to give the vendor name and all, right? So the moment you give the vendor number, then immediately system is going to in background everything will come to know by system, like whatever the name is there of this vendor and other details, lots of details we have to give. So vendor number will be generated by SAP only if you set up this vendor master. So what is happening in account payable, in each and every transactions there will be involvement of vendor. So it means we must be having the vendor master data created in SAP. Okay, and I told you guys master data means like it's a kind of setup which is done or created only once, and after that it is going to be used lifelong. Okay, it means let's suppose this XYZ Limited is there. So what is happening, this XYZ Limited is going to be set up as a vendor master only once. After that we can use this XYZ Limited for lots of transactions. And transactions in the sense, like if you have to procure something from a vendor, we are having a very huge process, and that is going to be explained during FIMM integration, guys. I will explain in details about P2P process, that is called procure to pay. Okay, so generally what is happening, once you have to purchase something, then first of all a PO is going to be raised. PO means purchase order is going to be raised. In that also vendor involvement will be there. After PO, what is happening, goods receipt is going to happen, that is also going to be posted in SAP. Invoice receipt will happen, that is also going to be posted in SAP. Then finally payment is going to be posted. So in each and every transactions what is happening, there will be directly or indirectly vendor involvement will be there. So first of all we have to set up this vendor as a vendor master in SAP. Okay, and then whichever account payable related transactions are there, we'll post and we'll test it. Okay, so now here what we have to do, we have to do a basic settings, so that account payable basic settings we have to do, so that at least we will be able to set up a vendor. And then once we are able to set up the vendor, then what will happen, we'll post certain transactions, basic transactions. Okay, uh, that is for testing purposes. And then after, there are lots of topics to learn in account payable, guys, and those topics also we'll cover one by one. Okay, so today we have to see account payable basic settings. Okay, so we'll let you know what are the what to say steps we have to follow here in basic settings and all, and then we'll do the configurations in SAP. So now if you talk about basic settings and all, then look at here. The first thing is we have to define vendor account group. What is this account group, guys? Account group during GL settings or GL basic settings. I have already explained the logic behind account groups. Account group, what is happening, guys? Account groups are the group of similar nature of master data. If you talk about GL account, that is also a kind of master data. So we have created asset account group, we have created liability account group, likewise we are having expense and revenue account group also. So under asset account group, what is happening? Under asset account group, we are going to create bank related GLs, whether it is HDFC, ICICI, HSBC, whatever this other banks are there, whether it is foreign bank or national bank or international bank, whatever it is. So all the bank related, Citibank and all. So all the bank uh, related GLs are going to be created under asset account group itself. Apart from this, petty cash is there, and later on account receivable related GLs also will be the part of that is coming under asset account group itself. Why? Because these all GL are the part of balance sheet. That is the similarity, isn't it? And those all GLs are going to be treated as a asset itself. So this is why it is going to be created under asset account group. So look at here, I told you guys that account group means what? Why we set up account group? So generally it is the group of similar nature of master data. Okay. If somebody asks a common question, what do you mean by account group? Then you have to say generally account group is a group of similar nature of master data. Look at here, guys. Account group means people or interviewer is not saying GL account group or customer account group or vendor account group. Customer account group will come also in a picture later once I start the account receivable. That customer account group is also having the same uses. And apart from this, it controls something. So that also I'm going to explain, which is already explained in the GL account. So if somebody says like, what do you mean by GL account group? In that case, you can say that GL account group GL account group is a group of similar nature of GL accounts. If somebody asks, what do you mean by vendor account group? Then vendor account group is a group of similar nature of vendor accounts. If somebody asks only account group, then don't say GL or vendor. Simply you have to say that account group is the group of similar nature of master data, because GL is also your master data, customer is also your master data, vendor is also your master data. It means these all accounts are going to be set up as a master data itself. Now, so here, the way we have set up account group for GL accounts, in the similar way we are going to set up account group for vendor account also. So account group is a similar nature of master data. It's a group of similar nature of master data. It controls the fields which appears during creation of master data. It could be ZL, could be vendor, it could be customer. In all cases, same definition is there. It also controls the number ranges. Already in case of GL, I have shown you guys. Now I'll show in case of vendor how it is going to happen. So first of all, first setting we are going to do is define vendor account group. We have to define vendor account group. Let's suppose, so we are having two kind of vendor. We are having two kind of vendor. Okay. Let's suppose manufacturing vendor and service vendor. In the sense, from few of the vendors, we are going to procure the raw material which is required for manufacturing. Even there are certain vendors which is going to give us the services. From those one vendor, what are we going to procure? We are going to procure services. So I have, or we have categorized whichever the vendors are there, that is categorized in, we have categorized in two category. We have segregated those vendor in two category: manufacturing vendor and service vendor. Okay. So now if you have to set up account group, then we are going to set up two account group. One is for manufacturing and second one is for service. So whichever vendor master is going to be set up, if any manufacturing vendor is going to be set up, that is going to be set up under manufacturing account group. And if service vendor is there, that is going to be set up under service account group. And even there is one more logic. I said like manufacturing vendor is going to, or whatever the account group is there, that is going to control the fields which appears during creation of master data, and it also controls the number range. So number range, what is happening? Look at here, create number range for vendor account group and assign number range to vendor account group. So here, generally, what is the logic? Let's suppose we are having manufacturing account group and service account group. This 4-digit code I have given. Here we have given, like, say for example, here I have given number range like 01 and here 02. This is the number range, and in this number range I have given like 1000 to 1999 and 2002. So whenever we are going to set up, okay, whenever we are going to, or else forget about this, just leave it. I'm going to make it more simple. Wait. So whenever what is happening, okay, let me delete this. So against this one, we have given this range. For service vendor, we have given this number range. So whenever manufacturing vendor is going to be set up, okay, let's suppose this XYZ Limited. Okay, so if it is a manufacturing number, then what is happening? The vendor number will be in this range. Okay, and starting from 1 and after that, whatever numbers are there, right? I'll just tell you here. So if any manufacturing vendor is there, then that vendor number will be starting from 1. If it is service vendor is there, that vendor number is going to start from 2, followed by other digits 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, anything, right? Likewise, in manufacturing vendor, what is happening? System is going to generate the vendor number. It could be 1001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So by looking at the vendor number also, we can come to know that this vendor is a manufacturing vendor or this vendor is a service vendor. Why? Because if you look at the first digit of this vendor number, okay, so whatever, or else we can say all the 1 series vendor is our manufacturing vendor, and all the 2 series vendors are our service vendor. 2 series and 1 series means the first digit is the vendor's number, the first digits are going to be started from 1. So that is our manufacturing vendor. Whereas for service vendor, the first digit is going to be started from 2. So this is how we can segregate and we can differentiate the manufacturing vendor and service vendor easily by looking at the vendor number itself. We will come to know which one is the manufacturing vendor and which one is the service vendor. Okay, so we'll do one thing. First of all, we'll set up the account group and then we'll proceed further. So let me log in first. So how to set up a vendor account group? The transaction code is OBD3. OBD3. The vendor account group means OBD3. Before that, we have set up GL account group. What was the transaction code? OBD4. OBD4 for vendor account, GL account group. OBD3 for vendor account group, and OBD2 will be the transaction code for customer account group, guys. That is going to be covered later. Once I start the account receivable, once again the same explanations will be there, guys. Don't worry. So it is going to be repeated several times, and this is how it's going to be set up in your mind pretty easily. So now what is happening here? What we have to do? The first thing is we have to set up vendor account group. How to set up a vendor account group? Use transaction code OBD3 and press enter. Use T code OBD3 and press enter, and we'll set up our vendor account group. So click on new entry, and we are going to set up account group like manufacturing and service, MANF, and here, so let's suppose we can give like material vendor for Tata Motor, right? And save it. Press enter. Now, so here material vendor for Tata Motor. Now what is happening, guys? I said like account group is the group of similar nature of master data. Or if you talk about vendor account group, then vendor account group is a group of similar nature of vendor account group. Under manufacturing account group, all the vendors, all the material vendors are going to be set up. On the service, under service account group, all the service vendor are going to set up. Now here, I said it controls the number range. So that is also going to come into picture, and it also controls the fields which appears during creation of master data, or so-called creation of vendor master data. So how it is going to control the fields, guys? Look at here, double click on general data. Double click on address. Look at here, there are lots of fields appearing. Okay, lots of fields are appearing. Name 1, search terms, XYZ, whichever it is there, PPO box, street 2, street 3, street 5. So whichever the fields are appearing, these all fields will appear in vendor master. While setting up the vendor master, these all fields will appear over there. Now what we have to do? Let's suppose if your client says, if your client in the sense, let's suppose we are doing this configurations or this one for Tata Motor. So if Tata Motor says that I don't want this field, street 5, we are going to suppress it. And if you suppress here, it is going to have impact where? In vendor master. Already this is shown while creation of GL master. In the similar way, we are having this functionality even in vendor master also. Okay, that is going to be suppressed. If you are going to make this optional entry means whether you enter the input or not, it doesn't matter. Okay, it means optional. If you can give input, it's okay, and if you leave it also, there is no issues. System will not throw any sort of errors and all. If you make it a required entry, let's suppose name one is required entry. It means while creating a vendor master, user must have to give certain input in name one field. Okay. If we suppress, if you click on suppress, then what is happening? This street 5 is going to be suppressed. Name one, I make it required entry. So while creating a vendor master, you must have to enter certain input here in name one field. If you are making any field as a optionals, so what will happen in that field? You can give it become optional in the sense whether you are going to give input or not, it doesn't matter. System will. If you give also it's okay. Even if you don't give also it's okay. If you make it suppress certain field, then what will happen? This field will appear. Okay, this field will appear in the vendor master, but we can't give any details over there. We cannot enter any details over there. Okay, I'll just do one thing. I'll restore these all things. I'll show you guys practically also once we set up the vendor account. Let's suppose display mode. Display mode means what? I'll double click on general data once again. If we click here in display mode, so what will happen? Whichever fields are in display mode, it is going to appear in this way. It is going to appear in this way. It means, look at here, what is happening? It's there in display mode. Okay, it's there in display mode in the sense here, if you want to, here this is, if you want to enter something, we can enter very easily. It means this field is there in editable mode, whereas this one is not in editable mode. It is only in display mode. It means this field is visible, but we can't enter any input here. So now what is happening? We have defined our account group, that is manufacturing, and let me create one more account group, that is service. So click on new entry and SERV, and here service vendor for Tata Motor, press enter. An entry already exists with the same key. I'll just do one thing. It means it is already set up by somebody. So if already set up, look at here, it is already set up. Let me try to delete. Now I'll set up my own. And then save it. So what is happening, guys? We have created two vendor account group, that is manufacturing and service. These two account group we have created. Okay. Now, so the first thing we have done is we have set up the vendor account group. Now what next? The next one is create number range for vendor accounts. Okay, so first of all, and then we have to assign this number range to the account groups. How to set up the number range, guys? And this number range is required because whenever we are going to, let's suppose I simply open a new screen and use transaction code XKN1 to set up a number range for vendors. Whenever we are going to set up a vendor master, guys, system is going to generate a vendor master number. Okay, so where this number is coming from, first of all we have to set up this number range, and from that range itself system is going to determine, or system is going to what you say generate a new vendor number. So we have to set up that number range first. What should be the number range for our manufacturing vendor, and what should be the number range for our what you say service vendor. So let me click on change interval here, and then already few number ranges are set up. Already few number ranges are set up here. Okay, so now we'll do one thing. Look at here, somebody has like 101, 02, 03, 04, right? And 05 and 06 is not used. Even if you want to use that code, that can be used. Even 9 is also not there, that is also can be used. And then after 11, 12, 13 easily can be used. And even so, if you talk about a range, this number, this can be given in numeric, alphanumeric, or alphabetic. So I'll just use this. Don't go in this logic because there is no what to say logic behind this. You can take anything 01, 02, 03, but 01, 02, 03 is already set up by somebody. We are going to use 05 and 06, which is still not taken by other people. So click on insert here and click on insert once again, twice. Here I'm going to give 05 and here 06. Now the major challenge is which range are we going to give? Which range are we going to give, guys? So look at here, and that must not be overlap. Okay, what is called overlap? Overlapping is, let's suppose here 1000 to I've given 2000, and here I'm going to give 2000 to 2999. So look at here, overlapping is there. This 2000 already is there in the first range also, and 2000 I have given here also. So system will not consider this because this range is, there is a class in the sense, look at here, this 2000 is in this range also, right? So either you have to give 2001, then this is a different range and this is a different range, or else if you are giving 2000 here, then here we have to give 1999. So there is no class, there is no overlapping. Okay, somewhere I've given 100 to 200, and again in next range I'm going to give 180 to 300. Then there are total 20 numbers which is going to be overlapped with this one, right? Because even 180 is the part of this range also. 181, 182 till 200 is the part of this number range. So how can we give this 180 here? We have to give 2200, 1 to 300, like that we can give. So this is called overlapping here. Now overlapping must not be there. So 0, 1 or 1 to 1000 is already there. Then look at here, 2200 to 2400, 1000 to, this is 10,000 to 10, 19,099, 2000 to, okay, 2100. We'll do one thing then. I'll give a very small number range because it's not like we are going to create huge number of vendors. If we give a small number range, then other people also will be able to give this one. So now we'll do one thing. 2000 to 2100 is already used by somebody. So we'll do one thing. I'll give 3000 to 3100, and here 4000 to 4100, so that again somebody can use like 3100 to 3100 to, let's suppose 3200, 2000 not 100, 3000, 1 not 1 to 200, sorry, 3200 can be used by other people. So this is why I have given a small number range here. Okay. Now, in real time, what is happening, guys? We are going to give 10-digit number range, so that is not going to be finished because here this range is a very small range. But anyway, we are performing testing here, so we are not going to create thousands of vendors, 2,000s of vendors, or 5,000s of vendors. We have to create hardly 1, 2, 3, 4 vendors for our testing purposes, so that we will be able to test all the scenario, all the what to say this one topics. So here I've given 3,000 to 3,100 and 4,000 to 4,100. Press enter. Now, what is happening? System is saying something. Please enter initial status or the value between from number to number. So it is showing certain. Let me check once again. Something is happening. Okay. So now we'll do one thing. Once again, I'm going to set up and we'll give here 11 and 12, and then let me try 3,000 and here 4,000, 3,100 and 4,100, right? And then let me check what is happening. Again the same issues. Here system is giving all this is appearing. This one is, so we will delete this one first. Okay, one by one I'm going to set up. Let me, this is 11, 3,002, 3,100. So this is set up. Save it. Press enter. Now again click on insert. Now make it 12 and make it 4,002, 4,100, and then press enter. Then it is working fine. Okay, so it was throwing some issues because at a time I was setting two number. Anyway, so what is happening? We have set up our number ranges 11 and 12. Even in the same way, we could have set up our 05 and 06 also, but no issues. So 11 and 12, these two range we have set up. One we have set up for manufacturing and second is for service. Okay, anyone can be assigned to manufacturing and the second one is assigned to the service. What to say, vendors, a vendor account group. Okay, so look at here. One is going to be, if we are going to use, if system is going to use this range, then the vendor master number will be starting from 3 digits and here 4 digits. Okay, let's suppose, so if we are going to use, if 11 we have assigned to manufacturing and 12 we have assigned to service, then what is happening? Here we have given 3,002, 3,100, and here 4,002, 4,100, right? So here system is going to generate the number range from 3 series and here it is going to be generated from 4 series. So 3 series number is our manufacturing vendor and 4 series number is our vendor number, is our service vendor. Now, so what we have done, we have created a number range for vendor account group. Now assign this number range to vendor account group OBAS, because we have set up this, we have set up this number range for manufacturing and service vendor account group. that we know. How SAP will come to know? So we must have to assign this number range to the our account group which we have created just now. So use transaction code OBAS. Use transaction code OBAS /n OBAS. Use transaction code OBAS to assign the number range. Sorry, /n OBAS. Press enter. This is locked by me only somewhere. Okay, so let me come out of this screen, and here itself I'll use OBAS. By this transaction code, we are going to assign the vendor number range against our account group. Click on position and give your account group first of all MANF. This is manufacturing which we have given, and number range is 11. Just save it. Press enter. Now click on position and service account group. So here we are going to give 12 and save it. So what is the meaning of 11 and 12, guys? Against 11, this range we have given. Against 12, this range we have given. And whenever we are going to set up a vendor master, that vendor master is going to be set up against account group itself, whether it is manufacturing or service. So if it is going to be set up against manufacturing account group, then what is happening? While saving that vendor, system will search against which account group this vendor is going to be created. System found it is a manufacturing vendor, right? It is going to be created under manufacturing account group. So what will happen? System is going to generate a vendor number from this range. Okay, from this range, system is going to generate a vendor number based on which logic, guys? So I have already explained one has covered those logic, like whenever here, right? 11 and 12. So system is going to say search, find out what is the NR status, means number in status. System found it is 0. So smallest number will be taken. Okay, it means vendor number 3000 is going to be generated. Next time, and once this 3000 got generated, then immediately it is going to be updated here under NR status. Once it is updated, then next time if you are going to create a new vendor under manufacturing, so again system is going to search against which account group this vendor is going to be set up. System found it is manufacturing. Against manufacturing, which number range we have assigned? 11. So again, against 11, which range is there? 3000 to 3001, right? And then system will check what is the number in status. System found that a number 3000 is already updated here. Okay, a number 3000. I'll just click here. So system will found that a number 3000 is already updated here. So what should be the next vendor number, guys? The next number 3001 will be generated. 3000 plus 1 will be generated. And the moment 3001 vendor number got created, so here NR status is automatically it is going to be changed and it will become 3001. So again, next time also the same procedure is going to be followed while setting up a new vendor, and the next vendor number will be 3002. This is how it is going to work, guys. This logic is going to work. So now what we have done, we have created account group, we have created number range, and we have assigned the number range to vendor account group. Now we have to define tolerance group for vendors. What is the use of tolerance group, guys? So if you are able to remember the tolerance limit which we have created against employee and against GL. Okay, now we have to set up we have to set up a tolerance account group even for customer and vendor also. Okay, it's having the similar usage. It controls the discounts and other things. I'll just let you know. So this is a mandatory setting, which is why we are going to do this. And of course, it is having some functionality also. So the how to set up this tolerance group, the transaction code is OBA3. OBA3. So this is, look at here, for customer and vendor both. This tolerance group, whichever is going to be set up, is going to be work out for customer and vendor both. Click on inventory. Click on inventory and give your company code, that is, let's suppose TM01. Don't enter anything here in group. Okay, make this group field as a blank so that this setting is going to be applicable for all customers and vendor. I've given a descriptions. Okay, now here what is happening? Permitted payment differences. So I'll just give 10 and 10 here, and in losses also 10. Even if you want to give percentage also, the same can be given in terms of percentage amount also. Nothing we are going to do apart from this. Even we are having like fixed terms of payment. If you give certain fixed terms of payment here, if you want to give, I'll just do one thing. I'll give standard terms of payment here as of now. What is this terms of payment, guys? This is a very important topic, and that is also going to be covered. I'll tell you guys what is this terms of payment. There will be a separate lecture. I think 3-4 lecture will be there, because 3-4 different kind of terms of payment is going to be set up, and I'll let you know how to set up and what is this all about. There will be a complete explanations on that, and there are lots of other things also will come into picture. So right now what will happen, just save it, and whichever things I have set up, that I'll explain here. What is this permitted payment differences? Those things I'll explain here. Okay, even this grace days, due date, that also I'll explain once we start the APP and all. So right now I will not say anything, because you guys will be confused. So slowly, one by one, we'll cover this. Now here, what is this permitted payment differences? Let's suppose we are going to post an invoice worth of 1000 rupees, and invoice we have received from vendor worth of 1005. Generally it's not in a small amount. Let's suppose it is 10,005. While making payment, what is happening? We'll make payment in round figure, so it will be 10,000. Now look at here, what is the differences? The differences are of 5 rupees. So if we post this payment worth of 10,000, then there is a difference of 5 rupees. So system will not allow us to post this payment, because debit and credit amount must be equals to 0, but there is a difference of 5 rupees. So what is happening, guys? Since if you give a limit here, that system will accept till 10 rupees. Till 10 rupees differences are going to be accepted. Okay, so whatever this 5 rupees differences which is taking place as of now, this is our gain, right? This is our benefit itself. Instead of 1000, 10,000, 5 rupees, we are going to make payment of 10,000 only. So what is your gain? It is 5 rupees. Okay, and in the same and in vice versa, let's suppose if we have sold certain things to the customer and invoice amount is 10,005 rupees, and if the customer is also going to make it round figure, then what will happen? The difference is of 5 rupees, and that is our loss. Okay, so the permitted gain and loss is 10 rupees. It means till 10 rupees of differences are, if till 10 rupees of differences are appearing while posting the invoices and all, posting the invoices and payment, between invoice and payment, then system is going to accept this, and you'll be able to post the transactions, and clearing also will happen. These all things are the matter of practicals and all. I'll let you know how it is going to happen. So this is the logic behind this. Okay, and this is a mandatory setting. That is why we have done this. And even it is having this functionality also. This is why also we have done this. So now this tolerance is going to be tolerance limit or tolerance group is going to be used for customer and vendor both. Look at here, customer and vendor both. So what we have done, we have defined this tolerance group for vendors, and the last setting is creation of reconciliation account. So I'll tell you guys, since we are having two different kind of vendors, that is manufacturing and service, so we'll do one thing, we'll create two different reconciliation account. One is for service and second one is for manufacturing, in the sense material. Okay, manufacturing means the materials are going to be, manufacturing items are going to be procured. It means some materials we are going to procure. So two GL account we are going to be, two GLs account will be set up. Now look at here, what is this reconciliation account? The question is, what is this reconciliation account? Okay, I'll tell you guys, reconciliation account is nothing but a GL account. So what is the logic behind creation of this reconciliation account? I'll tell you, you watch any video on YouTube and all, you won't be finding any clarification on this. So in order to make you guys understand, I'll just quote an example here. Okay, try to listen it carefully. It's pretty simple. Now, let's suppose we are having several vendors. Okay, let's suppose we are having several vendors A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Likewise, several vendors are there. Every vendors are having certain open items. What is this open item? It means we have procured certain things from those vendors, and we are having a liability worth of, let's suppose 1,000, 4,000 worth of liability. It means this amount we have to pay to these vendors in future. Okay, once the due date is, like whichever procurement is happening, so what will happen, guys? There will be a due date. It means payment must be taking place on or after that due date. So vendor is going to give you a time also, like you have to make payment exactly after 30 days or after 45 days or after 60 days. Okay, so that is your due date, and all after that you must have to make payment. So meanwhile, whichever the amounts are there, that is going to be treated as open item. Once I post the invoices, I'll show you guys how does it looks like, don't worry. So against vendor A, we are having a liability worth of 1,000. It means we have made a procurement or purchase worth of 1,000 rupees. Now here against vendor B, it is 4,000. Against C, it is, let's suppose, 2,500. Whatever it is, dollar or rupees, whatever it is, that's not. Now here, give 3,500, then 6,000, again here 1,500, and again 2,000. So these are the amount, these are the amounts, these are the liability, or we can say these are the payable amount. We have to make payment to the vendors in future. Now, while creation of financial, while what you say, once we prepare the financial statement, okay, this financial statement is also going to be prepared automatically, guys, with the help of SAP itself. How? That will be explained later, because there will be a separate topic, financial statement version. Once I cover, then I'll let you know how it is going to happen. Now here, so while preparation of financial statement, what will happen? While setting up while preparation of financial statement, we have to show our all expenses and revenue by which the P&L, profit and loss, is going to be calculated, and you have to show your assets and liability part also, isn't it? Financial statement is combination of P&L statement and means profit and loss account statement and balance sheet both. So now here, let's suppose if we have to, let's suppose if you have to generate your financial statement, then under whatever this amount is there, this is our liability, right? This is your liability. So this total liability we must have to show under your financial statement, that what is our total payable, guys. So what is your total payable here? Look at here. Total payable is 20,500. This is your total payable, right? Now this is our total payable, 20,500. Now here, if so, how I counted total payable, guys? Since it is there in Excel sheet, so simply I have made a sum of all this amount, and I came to know here that it is 20,500. Okay, and the number of vendors are very less. But if you talk about in SAP, then these all balances, these all payable amounts are updated against a different vendor. So if you have to count the total payable in SAP, then first of all we have to take the total balance from this vendor number A, then total balance, total payable amount of vendor number B, total payable of vendor C, total payable of vendor D. Then one by one we are going to plus these all amounts, and this is how we will come to know that this is the total payable amount. So in case if you are having 100, 200 vendors, manually the total payable amount can be calculated, and those amount is going to be updated in the what to say, financial statement under balance sheet, that what is our total account payable. So this is this much. Okay, but so it can be calculated manually if you're having 100 vendors, 200 vendors. But guys, if you're having 10,000 vendors, if you're having 20,000 vendors, if you're having 30,000 vendors, then how come it possible? This is not possible to calculate the total payable, okay, manually. So now for that, what is happening? We have to create a GL account. We have to create a GL account. Let's suppose the GL number is 2000. You know, guys, that while setting up the GL account, what is happening? We have to give a GL code. We have to give a GL number. So we have given that GL code 2000. So whenever we are going to set up a vendor A, at that time, while setting up the vendor, in vendor master, we are having a field called reconciliation account. There we are going to give this GL account 2000. The same thing is going to happen once we set up the vendor number B, while setting up the vendor number B, and the same thing is going to happen while setting up all the vendors. Whenever we are going to set up a vendor, we have to give a reconciliation account over there. What is this reconciliation account? Reconciliation account is nothing but a GL account. Okay, this GL cannot be used for direct posting. This GL is going to be used for indirect posting. How the indirect posting is going to happen, guys? So generally we have set up this GL, and this GL is going to be assigned against every vendor master. Okay, every vendor master. So what will happen here? Whichever transactions we are going to, whichever the invoices are posted against these vendors. So this balance is, let's suppose this balance has been updated against these vendors. Somewhere if you see the vendor report, vendor open item report, you may find these all separate amounts against separate vendor. But what is common, guys? This reconciliation account we have entered, the same GL account has been entered against these all vendors. So whenever you post a transaction, whenever you post an invoice, that invoice is going to be updated against this particular vendor, and even the same transaction is going to be updated against this GL also, the GL number 2000. Okay, so the same transactions, because in background this GL also will be, this GL we have set up and we have assigned against this vendor. So the same transaction is going to be updated against this GL also. Okay, so now what I said, if you have to check your entire payable, then instead of taking out the balances from this vendor one by one, why not to check the total balance of this GL account? If you check the total balance of this GL account, or it means, I mean to say, if you see this GL balance 2000, then here also you'll be finding the same balance. So instead of, if you have to calculate the total payable, instead of calculating the total balance of these all vendors one by one manually, we are going to have a look of this GL balance, and here itself, in one go itself, in one shot itself, we will come to know that this is the total payable. This is the logic behind creation of reconciliation account. And once I create the financial statement version, guys, there you'll be having a perfect understanding about this logic. Once again, I'll explain this. Not, don't worry. Okay. So this is the logic behind creation of reconciliation account. Reconciliation account is a GL account which is not going to be used for direct posting. It is going to be used for, it is going to be posted indirectly. How indirectly? This GL account we have assigned to the vendor master, and whenever you post any transaction against that particular vendor master, then of course that vendor master, the transaction is going to be updated. You can see the vendor report, and there it is going to be updated. Simultaneously, the same balance is going to be updated against that GL account which we have assigned in the vendor master. That particular GL account is called a reconciliation account. Okay, this particular GL is called reconciliation account. So reconciliation account, if somebody asks what do you mean by GL, reconciliation account, you have to say reconciliation account is nothing but a GL account which is going to be assigned against, don't say vendor master, you have to say master data, because this reconciliation GL once again will come into picture in account receivable also, right? Once we set up the customer master, there also we have to set up a reconciliation account. So if somebody asks what do you mean by reconciliation account, then you have to say reconciliation account is a GL account which is going to be uh, assigned against master data, and this GL cannot be posted directly. It is going to be used for indirect posting. Okay, how indirect posting is happening? Whenever you post any transactions against, let's suppose, vendor master, so inside of this vendor master we have assigned this reconciliation account also. So the same transaction is going to be posted against that reconciliation account also, or so called that GL account also. Okay, so this is the logic behind creation of this reconciliation account. And if you guys are able to remember, okay, I think half of you might be able to remember this, because you people, somebody who has already taken this training earlier, then you'll be able to remember, or else somebody who is going to take this training like first time, then you guys cannot be able to understand. Anyway, so whenever we are going to set up a financial statement version, there we have to assign the GL accounts. Okay, and system is going to read out the total balance of this GL accounts. So again, I'll not explain that logic right now, because you guys will be confused. So we'll explain this logic once again once I start the financial statement version topic, guys. So nothing, don't worry. So what is the use of this reconciliation GL, guys? This reconciliation GL is, or reconciliation account is a GL account which is going to be assigned against a vendor master, and all the vendor balances, all the invoices, all the invoice amount whichever is getting posted against a particular vendor master, that is going to be updated against this reconciliation GL also. So if you have to count the total payable, instead of taking out balances from vendor account individually one by one, we are going to look at this reconciliation GL balance itself, and we will come to know what is the total payable in one shot, within a second. Okay, so this is the logic behind creation of recon GL. Recon GL or reconciliation GL. In shortcut, people say recon GL or recon account. Okay, so we'll do one thing. Now I think this screen might gone. So I'll have to log in once again. Let me log in. I'll set up this reconciliation account and then I'll close this session here itself, guys. Look at here. If you talk about creation of reconciliation account, you see there are lots of explanations, lots of videos are there, either on YouTube, even on Google also. While setting up this reconciliation GL, what is happening, guys? It's a matter of hardly 1 minute or even less than 1 minute. It is 30 seconds itself. But if you talk about this particular explanations, it has taken around 20 minutes or 15 minutes, right? So here, as I said, that whichever things we are going to learn in SAP, it's not like we have to learn how to do. First of all, we should know why to do. Then only you guys are going to be unique, or else thousands of people are there in the market for the jobs and all, and everybody are having the similar kind of knowledge, how to do. So people are not going to ask how to create reconciliation account. People are going to ask why to create reconciliation account. And even you also should have the same. If you're able to understand this logic and all, this is how you guys are going to be a successful consultant. Okay, so I'll explain each and everything, all the logic I'll explain. Whichever the topics are there are lots of things to learn, guys. Okay, which is why it takes some time at my places in my training. Now, so what we have to do, we have to set up this reconciliation GL, reconciliation account, use transaction code FS00, whichever things I have explained, like it has taken around 1 hour completely. If you talk about only configuration part, that is going to be finished within 5 minutes. Even if it will not take 5 minutes also. But why it has taken 1 hour completely? Because explanations are there and we need to understand the logic behind creation of account group. What is this account group all about? Why are we going to set up this? What this account group is going to control, isn't it? And how it is going to control. This is also. So these all things will be explained. First of all, I have given theoretical lecture. Once I set up the vendor, again I'm going to show you how it is going to control. So likewise, there are several topics, guys, which will be explained now. So here we are going to set up our reconciliation account. What is this reconciliation account? Reconciliation account is nothing but a GL account. Okay, so this is this reconciliation GL. Most likely people are going to give a name of account payable itself. And one more thing. So here I have given this GL account against all this vendor. Now let's suppose this half of the vendors are manufacturing vendor and remaining are, let's suppose, service vendor. So if you have to say what is the total payable against for manufacturing vendor and what is the total payable of service vendor. Okay, so total payable against manufacturing vendor is 11,000. Total payable, look at here, it is 11,000, and total payable or total liability against service vendor is 9,500, isn't it? So how we can calculate these two things? So we are going to give a different reconciliation for manufacturing and different reconciliation for service vendor. Okay, it means we are going to set up two reconciliation account. So here, if you check the balance of this reconciliation account, we will come to know the total payable of manufacturing vendor, and if you check the balance of this GL account, then you will come to know the total payable of service vendor. So we'll do one thing, we'll set up two reconciliation account. Okay, so this is the part of account payable, guys, and account payable is your liability. Whatever the payable is there, that is your liability. So this reconciliation GL we are going to set up against liability account group. Okay, now here we have set up GL account under asset account group, expense account group, revenue account group. Now click on create session. And what is the number range in liability account group? If you guys are not able to remember, then what you have to do, you need to click here and click on create session. So a new window is going to open, and here what we have to do, guys, use transaction code OBD4. OBD4 is the transaction code to check your account group, and then you can check your number range also. Click on position and give your chart of account. I think chart of account also I've given the same code TM01. So look at here, we are having asset, expense, liability, and other and revenue. So now here, liability account group 2000 to 2999. I'm able to remember. If you guys are not able to remember, you can check in this way itself. And I always says that whichever code is being given by me, whichever range is being given by me, during initial practice, you just repeat the same thing. Once you have certain idea and all, then you can make your own experiment. There is nothing wrong in that. So now the first GL I'm going to create. So I'll give GL number 2000, press enter. And here, select your account group that is called liability account group. And it is the part of balance sheet. Now here I'll just give account payable for, let's suppose, manufacturing. Okay. Click on control data, and now here don't apply any check mark here. Simply we have to use vendor. Okay, we have to use vendor, and then in reconciliation account type we are going to use vendor, because this GL we are going to create, we are going to assign against vendor master itself. And then line item display, sort key, use 001. Okay, there is a question here from Amrit, what is the use of sort key? Okay, and what is the impact? This is very important question, guys, and people will ask this question also, so don't worry. I'm going to give a very exclusive explanation about this sort key, which you will never find anywhere. Okay, and that is a real-time requirement which I have received recently. So I'll give a separate session on this sort key, and I'll let you know what is the requirement which I have received from my client, and the same thing you guys also going to use later once I prepare your resume and all, once I decide your roles and responsibility. So at that time I'll share some real-time requirement, right? So once I share this real-time requirement, what will happen? Amrit, I think you have already taken training. So what is your understanding about this sort key? Any idea? Just unmute the audio.
Yes, sir. I was told that it only works where the assignment option is there in that during transaction posting. One assignment tab is there. For that, we are going to use that short key indicator.
Okay, so out of you, like whichever the 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 or 10,000 consultants or people who has taken this training, and let's suppose once those people go for interview and all, everybody's are going to give the same explanations. So what is the difference between you guys and those guys, right? So that is why I'm going to cover sort keys separately. I'll give a real-time requirement and I'll explain it, and I'll let you know what is the sort key and how to set up this sort key. Because even in real time also we are getting some requirements and all from client side. Okay, so I'll let you know what was the requirement and what solution I have given and how we calculated that. Okay, this sort key need to be created, and by this we are going to meet the requirement. Okay, this is a complete explanation, and during interview people are going to ask lots of questions like, have you find any challenges, or have you faced any challenges and all. So I'll let you know what you're going to reply. We can make use of this sort key itself in that. And even there are other requirement also, I'll share you guys later. Okay, so I'll explain, I'll give a separate lecture on this word key. Okay, so right now we have to set up this GL account, reconciliation account. Let me complete this because already this session is, I think it has taken more than 1 hour. So now here field status group G067 for reconciliation account. This is the field status group. Press enter. For reconciliation account, always we give G067. What is the use of field status group is already explained during the document posting, guys. Okay, and here there are lots of field status group. In that you guys will be having some confusions that which field status group I have to give during normal GL creations, which field status group I have to give during reconciliation GL. So I'll just tell you guys there are lots of field status group right now until you guys are totally new for this SAP and all. So right now you have to remember only two field status group, that is G001 and G067. Whenever we are going to set up a reconciliation account, whenever we are going to set up a reconciliation GL, in that always use field status group G067. And apart from all reconciliation and other than reconciliation account, it means other than reconciliation account means all are the normal GL. So during setting up the normal GL, use field status group G001 only. Okay, later on once we proceed further, we are having lots of topic to discuss and all, so slowly you will come to know the logics and all. Okay, in one session it's impossible to explain all the logic. So we are going to set up this reconciliation account, guys. Just save it, Control S, so that our GL account is now. So what we have done, we have set up this account payable GL account for manufacturing, and just copy this and give 2001 and press enter. So this one we are going to set up for service. So give here SERV, select it. So just give the long text and short text and save it. Remaining all settings will be as it is, format as it is, like whatever the setting is there in manufacturing. So what is happening, guys? We are having two reconciliation GL. One is for manufacturing and second one is for service. Why I have set up this two reconciliation GL, guys? Because I have to cover a pretty unique topic. This was also a requirement which I received during my implementations. There was a requirement raised by my client that in case I am having one vendor, let's suppose what is happening while setting up the vendor. Let's suppose I'm having with this vendor A is your manufacturing vendor. So whenever we are going to set up this vendor, we have given a reconciliation account 2000. This vendor E is your service vendor. Then whenever we are going to set up this vendor, we are going to give reconciliation account 2001. Now we are having a vendor Z. This vendor, from this vendor, we are buying manufacturing item also. It means certain raw material also, and this vendor is going to deliver us services also. Now here is the problem. So what about this vendor, whether it is manufacturing vendor or service vendor? Let's suppose, so I'm going to set up this vendor under manufacturing itself. Okay, let's suppose I have set up this vendor under manufacturing itself. But again, the problem is from this vendor we are going to procure manufacturing item, and against this vendor, and then this vendor, from this vendor we are going to procure service item also. So whenever we are going to set up a vendor master, we are having options reconciliation account field. In that we can assign only one GL. Which GL? Let's suppose I have given 2000, GL number 2000. So this is your GL, reconciliation GL, which we have created for manufacturing. Okay, but whenever we are going to procure a service, so service related invoices are, if service related invoices are going to be posted in SAP, then those amount must be posted indirectly against this service reconciliation GL. It should not be posted against this GL number 2000, manufacturing reconciliation GL. Okay, so how come it possible to assign two reconciliation GL account against one vendor, guys? Okay, there will be a separate topic. This is a very unique topic. There will be a detailed explanations on this. This is called dual reconciliation. Okay, this topic also you won't be finding anywhere. So this is also unique explanations. I'll just give a separate lecture on this. Okay, so this is how there are lots of things, guys, which you won't be finding anywhere. This is only based on the experience and all, or since I have faced such, such a requirement, or I have received some requirement in past, isn't it? So those things, because once you become consultant, even you guys also will be having, or if not today, might be tomorrow, you are going to face the similar requirement or similar challenges and all. So if you ask that time, why not to cover this topic right now itself? And even sometime people are going to ask during interview, isn't it? And these all things will be the part of your resume. Once I prepare your resume, once I decide the roles and responsibility, these things I'm going to specify so that your profile will be unique compared to other people. Okay. So anyway, so this is why, like, I've created two reconciliation account, and whichever this dual reconciliation account setup and setting is there, so that is a complete separate explanations will be there. That is also I'll explain later. Might be in next class, not in next class, because in next class I have to create the vendor masters and I have to post the invoices. So testing will be there. So next class I'll explain this. So what we have done, we have set up our reconciliation account, guys. Two reconciliation account we have set up. Now what next? So the next one is, we have done all the configuration steps. Now the next step is end user step. It means we have to set up the vendor master, and then we have to post the invoices, credit memo, payment, whatever the things are there, we'll post, and then we'll proceed further with the other topics. There are lots of topics which is there in account payable, and each and every topics are very important because there are several questions which can be asked by people. Okay, so okay guys, now so we'll stop this session here itself, because it has crossed more than 1 hour, and in next session I'm going to cover this end user part, and again after that, next to next session, whatever the things like I said during these classes, so those things also will be covered one by one. So that's all in this session, guys, and that's all for today.